All right, so it's time for parenting, or rather, it's time for health. Oh, goodness me. The reason why parenting came up is because of the topic. Now, we have a pediatrician, in fact, the noisy pediatrician here with us, Dr. Ayodele Renner. He is a beacon in the realm of pediatric healthcare in Nigeria, renowned consultant pediatrician and leading advocate for child health in Nigeria. He's actually really distinguished himself as an online content creator as well as influencer, and he founded Agnosis Care on Demand. So today, let's talk a bit about newborns. Now, newborns signal a shift in everyone's parenting journey. A brand new entity has entered your house. This newborn baby is here, and we have Dr. Ayo with us to talk about them.
Hi, Titi. Hi, everyone.
Okay, so when it comes to myths about newborn care, you've addressed this quite a lot online.
More times than I can count.
And the questions still keep coming. So what are the most prominent questions about newborn care that actually are myths?
Well, okay, so I guess the first thing maybe that I'd like to point out, of course, newborns, very fresh out of the oven, and particularly for first-time moms are besieged with a barrage of advice from Yaristika, just everywhere. Everybody just has one piece of advice for them or the other, but they've got to really know where to get the right advice from. Let me just start with the care of the cord, of the navel.
The navel.
Yes, okay. So cord comes and then people do a lot of things. Right now, what the World Health Organization recommends is chlorhexidine gel, applied once a day.
Okay.
But I've literally heard people say that they're applying toothpaste.
Wow.
Toothpaste.
They put toothpaste on the navel?
On the navel, yes. Just to make sure that it heals faster and falls off more quickly.
Wow.
None of which is actually true or correct, because toothpaste does not make the cord fall off faster, doesn't make it heal more quickly. If anything, it actually predisposes it to getting an infection. So please, please, please do not use toothpaste. Toothpaste is for teeth.
Only.
Okay.
So what else around the navel area, cord area, have you heard about? Because I know that there are some people that have in navels and out navels.
Yes.
Right? And they say it's from that point exactly. So if you don't want your baby's navel to shoot out, what are you supposed to do? So,
and unfortunately, whether the navel is in or out has nothing to do with what you apply to the cord at birth.
Okay.
A person who has a blum,
exactly.
A blum navel is born like that. So what happens is that there is a defect in our navel, which is natural for everyone, and it actually closes up before we are born. But for some people, that defect does not close. That defect is there so that our intestine can have the opportunity to come out of our tummies, grow, rotate, and go back in. So for some, that hole never really closes, and we call that an umbilical hernia. So placing a coin and then wrapping it with a cloth or putting a coin and giving it to a beggar so that the thing closes is not going to work. It's not going to work.
Okay.
So those things, if it's a small hole, it closes by itself before the child turns about 7 years. If it's a really large hole, then it doesn't close and might need to be closed surgically.
Okay, all right. But you should wait till the child is what age before you address that kind of thing?
So if it's a thing that is particularly cosmetically displeasing to the parents, they can actually meet a pediatric surgeon to have it closed before the age of 7.
Okay.
But if by the age of 7 it has not closed, then it's not likely to close anymore. And if the parents decide, they can actually still go and have it closed.
All right, fantastic. Now let's move away from the navel. Any other myths? Because I'm thinking there's some myths about the head.
Just took it right out of my brain. Because the myth about the head is just like crazy. So there's this opening on the top of the head. I mean, there are actually several, but the largest two are the anterior fontanelle. They call this one the anterior fontanelle and the posterior fontanelle. But the one that seems to give parents and grandparents the most concern is the soft spot in the front, which is the anterior fontanelle, because it just looks like it pulsates and it bobs up and down, and they kind of feel like it's the child's brain going to pop out of that.
Okay.
And so what they do is that they say that if the soft spot is particularly visible or prominent, then they tend to put different sorts of ointments, mixtures, potions on it. And some people actually go as far as mixing herbal concoctions with some cement and placing it there. They call it oka. depending on, yes, what language you're speaking.
Wow.
They call it oka. And they feel like, oh, if they don't do that, then the child is going to lose weight and will not thrive and will actually fall pretty ill.
Wow.
You know? And of course, we know that that space is actually normal because it helps to allow the expansion of the brain while, you know, the child is still growing.
Okay, so you're supposed to essentially leave it alone.
Perfectly alone.
So if there's nothing wrong with the baby if you see it pulsating.
Absolutely not.
But what can a parent do if they're just worried or a little concerned about it?
If they're a little concerned about it, they should just see a healthcare professional.
Okay.
And let the healthcare professional just reassure you and say, okay, you know what, this is perfectly fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong
All right.
with this.
I've also heard about massaging the head to change the shape of a newborn's head.
That's one, eh? if only.
Okay.
If wishes were horses. Because there is no amount of massaging that can actually change the shape of the baby's head. Okay. The shape of the baby's head is determined, and just you pray. That you, I mean, just marry a husband whose head is not shaped like the third mainland bridge. so that you don't start crying tears, premium tears, because the shape of your child's head is determined by you and your husband.
Okay.
There are no amount of shaping will change the shape of the head. I know it seems like it might, but what happens is that the baby's head just actually grows naturally into what it was going to be.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with how the baby came out during the process of birthing.
So that has an effect, but that effect doesn't last for more than a few days. Okay. So after a few days, even if the head was a bit compressed by the process of delivery, after about a week, maximum 2 weeks, the shape of the head has actually, you know, like leaned into what it's actually supposed to be. Okay,
so let's talk about the newborn's first bath. There are a lot of myths around the first bath.
There are. So what's recommended now by the WHO is that a child should really not get his first bath in the first 24 hours. So keep up the first bath.
How will I not bath my baby?
Yes.
No.
So
I'm not agreeing. I'm not agreeing.
Please agree.
Okay, so why did WHO say this?
Okay, so when a child is born, especially through the vaginal route, they actually pick up very healthy organisms, yes, depending on the health status of the mom, because there are certain tests that we can do to find out if the mom has, you know, some organisms that are actually not good. So as long as the mother is healthy, the baby picks up healthy organisms, and there is a covering on the skin of the baby that we call vernix. And that vernix actually helps to moisturize and protect the skin from microorganisms in the hospital environment. Because the hospital environment actually has really, really vicious organisms. And so you kind of don't really want those organisms to get the opportunity to get into the baby's skin. And so we say, put off the first bath for the first 24 hours. After that, you can do what you like.
So the first bath shouldn't be in the hospital. It should be maybe when you get home.
When you get home.
Okay.
Yes, when you get home, preferably when you get home. The hospital organisms are really nasty.
You know what, Dr. Renner, it's always enlightening when you come around. There's still a lot of myths we need to talk about.
Tons.
So many. And we're going to be making sure that we continue this online. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC. Tag Dr. Ayodele Renner or tag at The Noisy Pediatrician. And, of course, tag us Wake Up Nigeria TVCE. We have to take a quick break at this point, but there's still so much more on Wake Up Nigeria.